All right, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're recording the goddamn thing. I have denied myself Helluva Boss for long enough. I have denied myself for long enough. I have been busy with other work. I have been recording voiceovers. I have been writing scripts. I have been dealing with business bullshit. I have been filing stuff for taxes. The sheer number of other things I've had to do, which has kept me away from Helluva. Or rather, I could have just procrastinated and done this any fucking time I want, because I'm my own boss, but I have denied myself this fucking show, because I know that once I start Season 2, I'm not going to be able to stop. I'm going to want to know what the fuck happens next, right? And so because I'm a responsible adult or some shit, it's taking me a little while to get here. It's part of the reason why the reaction channel in general has slowed down, is because it became really, really fun to do stuff on the reaction channel, and then, oops, I fell behind on a whole bunch of other stuff, and now I've been sort of forced to spend a bunch of time catching up with all of the stuff I fell behind on because of these fucking gay demons. So there's that, but, yeah, you know what? Let's just fucking Oh, the back. Wait, baby Stolas? Hang on.
My birthday.
Okay, Premiere Pro could be a little faster about this, but I guess because I'm recording and I'm streaming this into the Discord at the same time, it'll be a little bit slow to them. I should probably close my internet browser windows, free up some goddamn memory. And my music application as well. I am bad at my job. And Steam. Steam eats a bunch of resources and memory. Yes, no, goodbye. Goodbye, Steam, go away. Okay, so the backgrounds, like, they haven't dipped in quality at all, certainly. Like, God, that's a gorgeous piece of background work that they've got going. I just wanted to see that again. All right, let's see what happens.
My birthday!
Huh. Okay, so here is me thinking about how much to read into the interior design, because that's a rather sterile room for baby Stolas, certainly compared to the sort of to the decor that he has in his adult apartment. This is sort of fairly is one of those puppet dolls he's got in his bed. Oh, okay. From a distance, that kind of looked like a Pokemon, actually.
My birthday! It's my birthday! Yay! Birthday! Woohoo! Birthday time!
Calm yourself, young prince. You know excitement is unbecoming of a geisha.
Huh. Excitement is unbecoming, huh? Really now? Okay, so, like, the shape of this is we're gonna get to see why Stolas is as emotionally repressed as he is, right? Like, we're gonna get to see where he gets all of his, oh dear, I can't talk about my feelings so openly. Why why his relationship with Blitz being an opportunity for him to, like, really express himself has become so intoxicating to him. Okay, let me just... I should probably also turn off the audio playback while scrubbing. That's very useful while I'm editing video. It's not so useful when I'm doing this. There we go. I like that. Look at that little expression there, like that little gremlin bounce up, getting all long in the face. That's fantastic. Also, the way he climbed out of bed, I'm a bit curious about, because it's like, yeah. Differential timing. We've talked about this before, so I probably don't need to reiterate it, but, like, moving things on a differentiated timing like this, where, like, Butler moves on that frame, Stolas moves on that frame, just a good way to smooth out the animation. Like that heavy landing and then up into the run. Oh, that's cute.
Yay! Birthday! Woohoo! Birthday time!
Calm yourself, young prince. You know excitement is unbecoming of a geisha.
Oh, right.
So the thing that's happening here is literally that the butler is smoothing down his rough edges, right? Like smoothing down his fluff. Okay. Smoothing down his fluffiness, right? Like, so it's like the action of what's happening here is like he's being smoothed down, he's being like made presentable because his natural state is unbecoming, right? His natural state as a child who is excited about his birthday is unbecoming for like his role within the family. We begin to see the shape of things.
Right. But Father told me today is the day I am old enough to know my purpose and responsibility.
Of course, I'm sure it will be wonderful.
Okay. Oh, because he's a baby bird. I get it. Okay, it's an egg, hair, little featherless baby bird horror monster creature, and then fluffy adorableness. That looks so much like Max from Sam and Max. What is... Oh, is that one of the carnivorous plants dripping, like, goo on his head? Oh, okay. Interesting that the family has, like, a whole portrait gallery for Stolas. That sort of implies a certain level of pride and care for him, or at least for him as a thing to be shown off. I wonder.
Full.
Okay, that rules. Hang on. Hang on. Hey, Dad. So, like, 4 dragon heads. And then, like, okay, so the line quality here is a little bit... like, literally fuzzy. I guess it's just the compression from YouTube that's sort of fucking with it. YouTube is terrible at things that are dark, right? Like, it compresses that very badly, and I think it's affecting the line work a little bit here. But that is quite... like, I like the sort of Picasso surrealism, right? Like, where the character is flattened so that, like, it's a cubist thing, like, where you can see a character from multiple angles, or even though you're only looking at them from one angle. So into a goat, into an elephant, into a bat, and then we've got a hound, a dog, maybe, there, some kind of bird. And then resolving into... oh, there's gonna be so much horny fan art of that guy, isn't there? Oh, there's gonna be a lot. Oh boy, there's gonna be a lot. Holy crap.
There is my little, which son is this one? There's so fucking many.
Stolas, Your Highness.
Stolas!
I see.
Yes, right. That's the one, the owl boy. Well, my little one, it is finally your day of becoming a true part of the Goetia family.
Playboy dad, huh? Been around the block a bit, have ya? Uh-huh.
How good for you. Are you ready to know what you will be meant to do to serve hell?
Do I recognize that voice? I'll see that by the end of it. I think I recognize that voice. Hang on.
Are you ready to know what you will be meant to do to serve hell?
Okay, I bet this is like either like a Broadway person or like just like a journeyman voice actor who's like done a million roles and everything, and that's why I'm recognizing it.
Yes, Father.
You will be entrusted with the study of the earth skies, the stars, the prophecies they hold, all that stuff. Isn't that fun? You will begin the studies of your grimoire, which will grant you access to the mortal realm to study and observe, and you will grow to be a mighty prince of hell.
Wait, no. Wait.
Access to the mortal realm to study and observe, and you will grow to be a mighty prince. The studies of your grimoire.
Studies of your grimoire.
Prophecies they hold, all that stuff. Isn't that fun? You will begin the studies of your grimoire.
Okay, he sounds like Jafar. A bit. Like he has that cadence. I don't remember the name of the guy who did Jafar's voice, though. I'm gonna have to look it up on IMDb later.
Which will grant you access.
Like,
You will begin the studies of your grimoire, which will grant you access to the mortal realm. You will begin the studies of your grimoire.
You begin. Yeah, no, he definitely has the cadence of like Jafar from Disney's Aladdin.
The study of the earth skies, the stars, the prophecies they hold, all that stuff. Isn't that fun?
Also, some really nice. Like, I got distracted by the voice, so I completely forgot to look at the animation. But like, some really clever and really nice looking effect animation on like the comets that are sort of streaking out of the sky. Like, look at like the glow effect that's over that. And like the way the tail is used to like smooth the motion by tracing like the arcs of its movement. They're a little loud. It sort of interferes a little bit with the dialogue. I wish I found there are subtitles for this on YouTube. I tried downloading them, but they were just completely fucking mismatched. Like all of the dialogue was just crammed into one piece of text right at the start of the subtitle file. That doesn't happen with the rest of them. We'll have subtitles for those. But this one, because I'm watching it in like Premiere Pro, I'm watching in my own software, the subtitles just didn't download correctly for some reason, and I couldn't get them to match, so we're stuck without them.
Prophecies they hold, all that stuff.
And then this thing, like you have this inversion filter, right? Like where the bubble just sort of like turns everything behind it black and white, and reverses the value. Oh, not reverses, just intensifies the contrast between the values, and then it resolves into this like these anime flashes, right? Like this is the kind of flash frame that you'd see in Trigger anime like all the fucking time, and Gainax anime. And then whoop, like that geometric shape around the book that really sort of marks it out as like something strange and artificial as it like flickers into existence. That's really cool. Anyway.
You will begin the studies of your grimoire, which will grant you access to the mortal realm to study and observe, and you will grow to be a mighty prince of hell with your own legions to lead and pass on your knowledge to.
I will do my best, Father.
Wonderful. Also, son, you are destined to sire a precautionary addition to the Gowisha family, so you are now engaged. Congratulations. Isn't she charming?
Ah, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yep. Arranged marriage. Cool. He doesn't get to have a choice in the matter. Being used as breeding stock, basically. Yeah, no, that explains a few things about the way that Stola sees himself and why he stays in that marriage. Okay.
Oh, that's an ugly noise, son. Here, how about you cease this bitch crying? That usually works. Would you like it if I took you to the circus in town? Children enjoy the circus, right?
Right, okay, so part of the reason why that's Stolas' only move when Octavia is down is because that's the only act of affection he ever received from his father, basically, is the idea. Okay, so he's like playing out parts of, that does make sense as a part of like the influence on this poor boy.
Would that distract you enough from your non-negotiable future marriage?
Non-negotiable future marriage. And he's on a Zoom call. He's there on a Zoom call. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's good neglectful father behavior. By which I mean, fuck this guy, but that's good. Like he offers to do something nice for his son, but then it comes with the big caveat that he's not actually invested enough to actually do it. Ah, that's good. That's pretty fucking funny.
There a spot that's close to the front, but also far enough that I don't have to smell the pool.
Wait, horse? Ooh, lovely design for that horse. And for the imp. Oh my god, no, stop it. The cats are having zoomies, and I have poor cable man. No, I have God damn, no! I have terrible cable management behind my computer, so when they fight behind my computer, they get stuck in the wires. And there's the threat of them pulling... No! Stop it. Them pulling something out that's not supposed to be pulled out. Oh, they are sort of... Hang on, I need to close my door. Oh, for God's sake. My sweet. Why are you wet? What did you do? How did you... Why are you wet? I think she stumbled into the water bowl. Fucking monsters. I love them so much. What were we talking about? Right. I like the design of that imp. That little acrobat imp. Like with the tail in the thing. It's like, that's really nicely done. Oh, he even claps like his father does. Oh dear. Wait, are they gonna... Is this when Blitz was a clown at the circus, and it's gonna turn out that they, like, met as children, or that Blitz did, like, an act as a kid that, like, cheered Stolas up, and it's gonna be, like, a thing of, oh my god, they have had a connection for so... Okay, alright. That... Okay, I'm 99% sure that that's what's gonna happen. I should have seen that coming a mile away sooner. I'm reasonably sure that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna talk about it if and when it does.
No! Everyone's favorite thing about circus shit, the motherfucking clowns!
Lovely characters. This is like a small thing, right? I just appreciate... Like, we have, like, with the motherfucking clowns, and the only point of this shot, right, is to just, like, oh, here's a bunch of clowns just fucking flying at you, right? So, depending on how much they show up in later shots, like, they don't need to be... They all have kind of the same symbol on their forehead, says, okay. They don't need to be particularly interesting, right? Like, there doesn't need to be a huge variety in their character designs. They're just, like, NPCs being thrown at the camera for the whatever. I just appreciate that there is a huge variety, right? Like, that they have very different facial constructions, different anatomies, different, like, that's just like, nice character design to see.
You ready, Bosso? Born ready.
Oh, well, of course, Fizz is there, too. Right, I see. Okay, right, okay. So that's, okay, so the whole they met as kids thing, I'm gonna wait and see how it plays out. I'm gonna wait and see where they go with it, because, like every trope in the universe, what matters is whether or not you play the trope well, right? Like, do you do a good job of going through the trope, making it work for the narrative, for the themes, for the story that you're doing? As an immediate reaction, though, I'm kind of like, no, that's lame. Like, come on. Like, they don't need to have had, like, oh, they have had a connection. Like, you don't need that. They can just have met as adults, right? It can just be that. It doesn't have to be like a fucking destined thing of like, that's a little much initial reaction. Again, it can be done well. Maybe they'll do it well. That just feels a little bit superfluous. Like, that feels like laying it on a little bit too thick about how connected and right for each other these two are. But yeah, okay, I'll let it play out.
Hey, you folks, want to see me make a horse? Crap. Again,
character design variety. It's another thing I appreciate. Like, because again, these aren't meant to be much other than just like NPCs, right? Well, I'm sure somewhere in the crowd here, there's like a cameo of a character who's going to become incredibly important in 4 episodes or fucking whatever. Because that seems like the kind of thing that might happen. But variety, like people who are distinctly visually different from one another. It's the kind of thing that's like that. Like, it's one of my frustrations that, and sometimes like I get in like video games, right? And that's a very different thing. Like, it's much easier to just make some characters for a single still frame that can sit there rather than fully 3D modeling and all that. But like, there is a thing in a lot of media where variety in character design is sort of neglected as a part of world building, right? Like, that's like, oh, we need some fucking NPC characters for like fucking whatever, just like copy paste a bunch of like, who cares, right? I appreciate when there's like effort and time put into specifically like differentiating them so that they feel like, oh shit, these are all people who have their own shit going on. Right? Like, these are all people who have like their own stories, their own whatever. It doesn't need to be explored. You don't need to have side content like going into the personal histories of every one of them. You just get a sense that like, oh, okay, like there's all sorts of folks. There's all kinds of people with different lives and different relationships to themselves and shit out there. That's just from a world building perspective. I really like that. Right, like we have like these seem to be kind of the twins from Here's Johnny, Hotel, The Shining, a little bit that, but like a little thing of like you have like the flat edge on the bottom side of that one's face, and then the flat edge on the top side of that one's eyes, right? Like you have the eyelashes on the top, the eyelashes on the bottom, one whole, like those little symmetries and asymmetries where one there's a bow tie, like that's just, oh shit, there's a character dynamic here. Like you can tell, oh, these two have like different personalities and they complement each other, and they're like, oh, okay, so they have like a twin. It's character design that implies a story, one we don't need to see, but the fact that it's implied to be there, it just makes the world feel good. Like for me, when I'm watching something, like looking at background characters, if I get a sense, these are probably all Homestuck references, aren't they? If I get a sense that there's like, okay, these are people that could exist somewhere else, could have their own stories. It's one of the things that was the great strength of Star Wars, right? Star Wars, especially the original trilogy, was really, really good at creating background characters, incidental characters that don't matter, but which were just like, oh shit, that person seems like they have a cool story. That's like the whole reason Boba Fett is popular at all, because like he shows up like twice and then he just dies immediately. He has no story in the original Star Wars, but his character design was strong enough, his presence was strong enough that people inevitably started fixating on him and going, shit, man, I bet that guy's been up to all kinds of cool shit. That's why, and like nowadays, Star Wars has a plague of side content, like explaining the backstories of every fucking NPC and side character that ever existed in the franchise. That's a problem, but that's Disney's fault. As a discipline, like it's just every single one of these characters could be the subject of their own side comic, and there'd probably be something interesting there, right? And I just good character design. I appreciate that.
Horns!
You know what? This audience is ungrateful. I would find that fucking hilarious. Not for the reason that Blitz wanted, but that would be fucking funny.
Well, it was a horse, but then it ate too much sugar and its legs stopped working, so I had to amputate. Now it's a gross worm horse. See? He gets it. Because horses, they make no sense. Okay, Blitzo, that's enough horsing around. Hey, everybody, look at this.
Oh, are we doing a thing where Fizz is like... Is that the thing that's gonna drive them apart? Is like that Fizz kind of has his shit together and Blitz doesn't, and that brings up like some jealousy shit or some okay.
It's Banana Pudding the clown horsey. I liked his broken horse stroke. It was funny. Their legs do stop working when they eat too much sugar. It's called laminitis.
Oh, yeah, he would. Because he's a nerd who knows enough about horses to... Okay, yeah. That's... I mean, that from a storytelling perspective is not... Like, that Blitz has this obsession with horses, like pre-established. He has this, and that just sort of seems as a one-off joke, but here we're using it to be a thing of like, oh, okay, they have a special interest in common, I suppose. That's not bad. Okay. Actually, speaking of character design, I like the white blob on the imp's face that sort of implies a monocle. Again, that's quite good character design because like you don't need to have the monocle, but you can kind of imply it, and that sort of creates the same effect. That's quite good.
What a show! That was real great. So, that little clown that you have, my son really enjoyed that one. I was wondering if I could buy him.
Buy him?
Purchase him. Yes, accurate. My son doesn't have any friends, you see, and he liked the little clown boy. It's his birthday. He's so sad, and I don't want to deal with him. Can I write a check?
Well, Fizzaroli is a big draw. He has a few more shows to be in today, so it would be pretty expensive.
No, the other one.
Blitzo?
Correct. How much?
Well, he's my son, so...
Wait, that's his dad? Okay. Okay, right, so that's why... So, they're both in the Neglectful Father Club, I see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, alright. Oh, boy. So that's, like... See, that's the thing is, like... I feel it would have been enough for both of them to, like... They both have a shared trauma of, like, a neglectful, shitty father who didn't value them or care about them as like, individuals. It didn't need to be a thing of, like, they had an encounter as children sort of thing. Like, I feel like that, again, is the thing of, like, for me, this is a trope that's a little bit too syrupy, saccharine, sort of like, oh my god, they were destined to be connected as children. Like, I feel like just, like, the fact that they have the neglectful father, right? Like, one from the perspective of being, like, working class and very poor, the other from the perspective of being, like, upper class and very rich, and, like, having, like, experiencing neglect from two different perspectives, like, that would be enough to create a connection between them, right? Like, that would be a thing that drew them together. I feel like that should be enough. So, like, I'm still sort of, like, wobbling about, like, whether or not the whole, oh, they met as children thing is necessary as such. But okay, Blitz's dad is a piece of shit. No surprise there, I suppose.
How much you got in your pocket?
A wadded up 5 and a slim fit condom.
Yeah, that's plenty. Done.
Splendid. Fetch him for me and we will be on our way.
I like that. That was a good piece of animation too on that. Yeah. Ooh, oh, that's actually really fucking cool. Hang on. So, like, you see them disappearing in the thing, like, the way that their shapes, like, turn dark and then slowly get, like, beamed up. And then you see the same thing with, like, the whole circus tent, like, where we go from everything's fine to... And you can see the thing being slowly deconstructed and torn apart as a shadow inside the teleportation beam, like being fragment. That's just like, ooh. That's one of those things of like, the animator didn't need to do that. It would be enough to just like have the fucking teleport being like, and then the tent is gone. The joke would have landed fine, but like they added the little thing of like having pieces of the tent like visibly disappearing inside the beam. That's like, also the timing here is just good. Because you get that shot of like everything's fine and then instant. That's just good classic comedy.
I'm Banana Pudding, and I like to dance. I am Warm Horse, and I am sad. Why are you sad, Warm Horse? Because I have no legs. Oh, well that's okay. I lost my legs in the war. The war? Yes, the Great Pirate War. No pirates. The Great Pirate War! If you keep talking about pirates, I will punch you. I fought bravely, but I could not run fast enough. They took my legs. There was blood everywhere. Oh no, ew, no blood. Blood is disgusting.
That's very cute.
No, it's cool. Well, Banana Pudding is here to save the day. With his magical feet he dances around with. He will dance all over Wormhorse to make him feel better. And then... there'll be fun! Lizzo, that's so gross! Stop!
That's actually, like... that's a pretty well-written kids playing scene. Like, the sort of collaborative storytelling element of, like... clearly Blitz is mostly just trying to make Fizz laugh. That's quite well captured. Like, it's been a long time since I was a child, but like that kind of play acting and like trying to push each other's buttons because you just want to see the other one like be happy or smile a little. I remember that, like having that dynamic with my sisters. That's really cute.
I got a job for you.
Did his horns just get like 8 times bigger? What the fuck? How are you standing upright, dude? Are they full of helium? How are you not on the ground all the time?
We're gonna spend the day with one of the Goetia princes.
Ew, why?
Because money! Now listen carefully. You are being brought out to be his playmate, but I want you to steal as much from those rich fuckers as you possibly can.
Steal? But if I get caught?
Don't you want your family to be able to buy a bigger tent? Better food? Don't you want to be able to help me and your mama out?
Ooh, okay, so... right, present day, Blitz has this thing where, like, he both feels completely worthless and unable to be of any good to anyone, but also completely fucking desperate to, like, protect other people. Like, we see that with his relationship with, like, Moxie and Millie, that he has this simultaneous fascination with their healthy family bliss dynamic, but, like, an obsession with it, but at the same time also, like, this... And that feels like, yeah, like, if he had a dad who, like, would manipulate him by playing on, like, his sense of responsibility and care for his family, at the same time as making him feeling completely fucking worthless, like, guilting him, that's emotionally, that's cogent with the character that Blitz has sort of developed over the course of Season 1.
Of course I want to help Mama.
Then you gotta do this. Everything those rich fucks have will be worth a fortune.
But if I'm caught, I'm scared, Dad.
There are scarier things, aren't there, son?
But... yes, Papa.
Ooh, guilt. Huh.
Here is your new friend, my son. Happy birthday.
A friend? I guess. Hi.
I'm still on the train of this is lame. Like, I'm still on the train of that. That it's kind of dumb that they were like playmates as kids. like everything that surrounds it, like because what the structure of the episode is doing is that it's showing off like the connection between them, not only in that, oh, they met as children, but in the sense of, oh, their parents were neglectful in ways that are, like, concordant with one another, right? Like, they both see their children as objects to be disposed of for the benefit of the family, right? Like, as, like, obligations that need to be dealt with, but otherwise as things that are exploitable. That is all very solid, right? Like, it's all very solid to have this showcase that these two people have similar damages, and that is why they feel a strong connection as adults, is because they went through some of the same shit as kids. Like, that's why they feel at home in each other's presence, is because they share a certain, like emotional standpoint in the way that they relate to other people, right? Like, that's why... through their connection with one another in the present day, like, maybe that's an opportunity for them to heal each other a little bit because they understand each other. Like, all of that is good. All of that is solid. I'm still not on board with the whole they met as children and, like, I'm not quite on board with it. Like, I think it's stronger if that... And this is just me. Like, this is just me thinking in terms of story tropes, and, like, I think it's stronger if they meet as adults for the first time. right? And that's when they, like, the vibe of them, their particular damages intersect in a way that draws them together. But again, let's see how they play out.
I'm Blitzo.
I'm Stolas. It's nice. Ouch.
Don't bow to that one. He bows to us, idiot.
Oh, right. Sorry, Father.
I'm so good at daddying.
I'm so good at daddying. That's the kind of thing you clip and use as a drop on a podcast.
This is my book on the difference between frogs and toads. There's a lot of differences. And this is my book on plants and herbs.
He is very cute, I'll grant. Like, this little nerd kid with absolutely no social life who only has the books for company. Again, Stolas' lack of social skills here does some storytelling for him. Like, clearly this kid has never had friends. Why has he never had friends? Well, because his class position entirely precludes him from interacting with anyone except other kids who are similarly traumatized by their parents, right? Like Stella, I don't know if she gets an episode where we sort of get to look into her shit, but I would imagine, just like off the top of my dome, I would imagine that she's not had a much better childhood than Stolas. I would imagine she doesn't have a much greater relationship with her parents. And then you get like two damaged people whose damages don't complement each other like Blitz and Stolas maybe do. That's just keep reinforcing that same damage upon each other, and that's how you get a toxic marriage. But I do like that detail. Like, this is all Stolas really has. Like when he's showing off his interests, these are the only ones he's had an opportunity to develop, because there's just no other opportunity for him to be around anyone, right? And Blitz would be very much the opposite. Like, he, if anything, probably has too many people around to deal with, right? He, if anything, probably has like a whole bunch of fucking family around, all of which he's made to feel responsible for, which would go some ways towards explaining why, as an adult, he has this fixation, this terror of getting tied down by relationships and obligations to others. Because, like, he comes from a family where, like he's constantly made to feel responsible for everyone else's safety and health and situation. And so any situation with a relationship he gets into as an adult where he's being relied upon emotionally triggers a bunch of those old insecurities. Then he self-sabotages his relationships, and then he's alone. And then I'm just extemporizing based off of like the tropes that are at play here. But that feels, again, it makes sense that Blitz's damage from being made to feel responsible for his entire family as a kid would like bleed into his emotional unavailability and his inability to believe that he deserves any kind of unconditional love, right?
Did you know plants can hear you?
Plants are boring. This is all boring stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've never had a friend to share my books with.
You know it would be fun? A game. Let's play Treasure Hunt.
What's that?
It's where we pretend we are pirates.
The other thing is that Blitz is in this situation knowing that he has to steal from this kid, right? He has to betray whatever trust is put in him at all by anyone here. He has to betray it, right? Like, he knows that already. So, like, and that's not a great position to be in as a kid.
And we go around the house collecting all the nicest things. And then we throw them out the window.
We throw them out the window?
Yes.
Since when did pirates throw things out windows?
Since, like, the dawn of time. Come on.
The voice actors for the kids are very good, by the way. Like child actors are... It sort of depends, right? Like, there are plenty of child actors who are very good at what they do. Voice acting is a hard thing to learn as a kid. Right? Like, learning to act enough with your voice without being able to, like, project with your body and shit, like, they're doing a good job. Like, presumably they're not, like, I don't know who the voice actors are. I assume they're not, like, 5 years old or whatever, but they're doing a good job of, like getting the simplicity and the posturing and the emotionality of kids through. Also, I quite liked Blitz's animation here. Like that little whip of the tail. Like, since when do pirates throw things out windows? And he's like, oh, shit, I have to pivot, make up an excuse thing, and you get that little flick of the tail. That little gesture is quite good. Like, the way that he, like, bends down anticipation, then pops his head forward. And that's a cute little jump. Like, there's a real attention from the animator being paid to the awkwardness of children, right? Like, to the way that, like, children don't quite... Also, I love Stolas' little tiny bird legs. Children don't quite have full control over their motor systems, right? They don't quite have full control over their balance. So there is a certain movement aesthetic to children where, like, the way they catch their weight, the way they balance themselves, it tends to be, like, with bigger gestures. Because they're sort of... They're being a bit more careful about their physicality. And, like, that's present in, like... Especially in the way that Blitz moves. And that's quite well done on the part of the animators. I do, like, the little tiny bird legs from Stolas, like the little baby bird, giant feet thing. That's a good little character design note.
The dawn of time? Come on. Pirates are always throwing stuff out windows.
I don't think they had windows.
What, did your book say that?
Yes, actually. Several.
Well...
Hang on. What, is that the porthole myth? Of course he has a book specifically about that.
Several.
Well, in this game, we're throwing them out the window because it's fun.
Well, that's an odd game. Is this an...
That's very cute. Oh, sweet prince. Precious child, poor baby. Oh, this is gonna hurt you emotionally really, really badly, isn't it? Oh, dear. Oh, no. Oh, no. That is very, very cute. Like the little hand in front of the face. Aw.
Is this an imp game?
Sure. Why not?
Well, if it's what you want to play,
Let's do it.
Again, the background work is so good.
Come on, come on!
You know, Blitz, you probably only needed to take like 10% of that in order to make it worth it to you. You probably didn't need to clear out the whole thing. Why are there spider webs in all their shells? Okay. So, like, this will be like the first time that Stolas has ever dared to misbehave, isn't it? Like, this will be the first time he's had, like, the guts and the validation to be naughty, right? Like, to do something that falls outside his assigned role and, like, the expectations of him. This will be the first time he's ever done that, right? Like, it'll be the first time he's ever expressed himself in any way, even though, like, he's being led on and he's being, like, pushed into it. And there'll be a sense of freedom in that, right? So this is what I'm talking about, like, the thing of, like, well, it could be executed well, right? And it does make some degree of sense to me, like, that if you're going to have this thing of, like, they interacted as children, the influence that Blitz would have on Stolas is, like, this little taste of freedom, this little taste of expressiveness of doing what you want selfishly, regardless of whether it's appropriate or the correct thing to do. Like, that would make sense as, like, a thing of, like, that forges their connection, that, like, Stolas sees Blitz as a source of freedom, right? Again, depending on how the rest of it plays out, I'm still lukewarm on the trope as a whole, but that, like, okay, that makes sense. Like Blitz, for the very first time, encourages Stolas to do something just for himself because it would be fun, right? Even if the... I mean, they're gonna get caught, and it's gonna be bad. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of procrastinating looking further into the episode, right? Just because, like, I know what's gonna happen. Like, I know it's gonna turn out badly. I know there's gonna be heartbreak coming down the line, and these kids are so fucking cute, man. They're really adorable. They're really sweet. Like, they don't deserve to have a bad thing happen to them ever. Viv Medrano, leave them alone! Okay, we've talked about this before, right? Like, rotation shots. Rotation shots are just the animator showing off. They are like they're just like, oh, we're rotating this thing in 3D space because fuck you, we can do it. And I always appreciate them when I see them. And this is like a really well composited one. This is something I'm less competent to talk about, unfortunately, because it's not really within my wheelhouse. I haven't studied it much. Compositing in animation is like the art of, okay, we have all these elements. Like, the animator creates the 2D sprites, like the 2D elements of like the actual characters. Then you have the background artist who creates all the background assets. You have the VFX artist. You have like the lighting, all kinds of shit that has to be put on top of just the animation. Like, they don't hand animate this entire shot fully on the screen, right? And the compositor is the person in the production pipeline who's responsible for making all this shit fit together, right? Like, for making this shot work, where the animation of like the kids turning around in 3D space matches the movement of the other elements in the scene, matches the movement of the background. And, like, I will say, like, this, and the tragedy of all animation, right? Like, the tragedy of everything that ever happens in any animated series is that every time someone does their job really well, every time someone does their job really well, you don't see it. You don't notice it. It fades into the background. It seems to not even exist. It seems effortless. It seems right. It seems perfect, right? That's the tragedy, is when everyone is doing their job correctly, when everyone's doing their jobs perfectly, you don't see it. You don't notice it. You're not even cognizant that it's happening. Sound design is another one. The sound design of Helluva Boss is really fucking solid, and sound design is one of the places where, like, a lot of independent animation can often struggle, because that's a whole separate fucking discipline of making the sound of the environment, like, and that's down to, like, both the way the voices are mixed so that they sound like they're in the rooms they're portrayed to be in, and, like, making sure the music is correct in the mix, making sure, like, when someone walks across the floor, everything syncs up nicely, and, like, the sound of the foot hitting the floor is correct. Getting all of that shit to fit together, it's part of why animation is a fucking miracle, right? Because, like, when you're recording on a set, at least you can have a mic, a room mic, sort of pick up the noise of the person walking, and then the Foley artist can sort of use that to go off of, to go, okay, that's what that actually sounds like in real life. I'll enhance it a little bit with my fucking magic, which is what Foley artists do. Magic, sorcerers, every single fucking one of them. In animation, it's just like, you need to have someone who's just like, okay, I need to think up what the fuck does Stolas' little fucking bird feet sound like when they're walking on fucking marble or whatever. And so anyway, my point is, the compositing here is really good. Like, the fact that you have this 3D animation, and that's remember the shot in the Has-Been Hotel pilot and the Helluva Boss pilot? Both of those had, like, one shot that was not very well composited. In the Has-Been Hotel pilot, it's the one with the limousine coming up to the hotel for the first time, where it just sort of, it comes in at completely the wrong fucking space in the scene, and the perspectives don't match it. Like, and that's partly down to that's a producer error, where people didn't, like, coordinate on making sure that the animator was animating in the same perspective as the background artist was drawing. But it's also compositing's job to make sure that shots like that fit together. Same thing with the shot of Luna running across the street kicking a baby carriage, I think it was, where it, like, looks really awkward because she just, like, shrinks and it grows. for like in a way that's just not verisimilitudinous, right? And that's partly down, like, that's the kind of thing that can go wrong when the compositing isn't quite working, when the elements that are present in the scene don't mix together properly, right? So it's hard to pay attention to good compositing, because the whole point is that you don't see it. The whole point is that everything feels right, feels natural. But when the blur on like these hanging elements in the front looks really good against Blitz in the background without distracting in the shot and being a good part of the composition, partly thank the compositor for like doing a good job of making these elements work together. And you can see the differential timing on the frames as well. Again, like that little trick of making things flow smoother. This is really nice rotation shot. And like they're both having fun. They're both genuinely having a good time playing with each other. Another good little bit of, we saw this being set up with Blitz and Fizz, right? Like that Blitz, even despite himself, has this habit of like, shit, I really enjoy making other people happy, right? Like he really enjoys making Fizz laugh. He really enjoys giving Stolas like a good time, even though he knows that's not really what he's here to do. And now reality reasserts itself, right? That you have a shitty abusive father who's forcing you to be like emotionally abusive in turn to someone who trusts you. Hooray! Things are about to get sad! A child shouldn't be in that position! Children shouldn't have to do that! Fuck you!
Blitzo! Over here!
Speaking of... remembering that shot about Luna I talked about, where like the way that she grows into the perspective doesn't look good? This is the opposite of that, right? Like, this is not realistic perspective necessarily, right? Like, this is not like completely 100% geometrically accurate to what it would actually look like in real life if a person ran from this position to that position. Like, the way he grows, the way that he moves through the scene, it's not realistic, but it's verisimilitudinous, right? Like a word that means it feels like it is correct to the thing that's going on. Like, it feels right. And that, again, good job on the compositor's part, right? Like, also the animator and like the background artist are clearly more coordinated here for making sure that the elements fit together. But good job on the compositors for making sure that like when Blitz grows in size and the perspective, that it works. Oh,
So what is that? Your diary?
No, this is my new grimoire. It's a spell book.
Is Blitz gonna have to try and steal the grimoire? Is that what he's... Is he gonna realize that it's valuable and feel like he has to try and take it? Please don't. I'd rather not.
Look, I have to learn it so that I can access the living world.
The living world? Like the one with humans and stuff? Where the sinners come from?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yes, I'm supposed to learn to use it to study the sky.
Why?
My dad says I can find prophecies, but I don't really know. But I'm supposed to. That's what my job will be when I grow up. To join the rest of the Goetia family.
Well, you know what I'm gonna do when I grow up? I'm gonna run my own circus, and I'm gonna be the most famous imp ever, and I'll be able to do what I wanna do.
Which is the thing, right? Like that, again, playing it out nicely, like sort of like drawing the parallels between them. That Blitz is desperate to be able to do what he wants to do instead of whatever the hell he's being guilted into doing. And Stolas has exactly the same sort of desire. And for Stolas, it's weird to meet someone who can actually think in terms of like selfishness, right? Like even a little bit.
All day, I'm gonna make so much money and buy myself a big building with a big office.
A big office? For...
And here we're foreshadowing he buys himself a building, big office, imp, right? Yeah, makes sense. Begging the question, where the fuck did Blitz get the money to start imp from?
For a circus?
Yeah, a big office. circus business with clowns and horses. And the horses will all have good names, like Stapler and Biscuit Queen.
I'm sure you will. That sounds like a good business.
Yeah, and if you apply, I'll hire you. Maybe.
You'll hire me?
Yeah, if I feel like it.
Well, I hope I qualify. You'd be a good boss.
You
A hell of a
say that with
boss.
sarcasm, but I totes would.
Okay, they didn't get caught. That's nice. Cause like the fucking scene of like if they got caught and like Stolas realizing that, well, the episode isn't over, so who knows what the fuck is gonna happen, but okay, 25 years later then. Does Stolas know that the Blitz that he's fucking is the same kid from back then? I mean, he would have to, right? Like, because this would be so impactful for him, he would remember the name and the... Again, and that's the thing that would bother me about, oh, they met as children, because, like, this sort of implies that, like, Stolas sort of... It changes the dynamic of the relationship in a way that I'm not 100% sure I'm happy about, but I can't necessarily articulate 100% right now. We'll see. Meanwhile, some little things in the shot. I like the movement of the duvet here. Also, he gets up like a fucking vampire. Right? It's not how the fuck you sit up, you lanky bird boy bastard. Like you don't just fucking raise yourself from your hip. What the fuck are you doing, weirdo? Like, I don't drink wine. Welcome to my castle. Anyway. I like the movement of the duvet a lot. Again, I would imagine this is partly down to, like, the color is still the compositor, but, like, the texture on the duvet, like, the pattern and shit, like, moving that around well. Wait, did they hand animate that? They couldn't have. Is, like, that's a small detail, again, that thing of, like, projecting a texture onto a thing and making it move in a way that feels correct to the motion. That's why when you see duvets and blankets and shit in cartoons, most of the time, they don't have complicated designs on them because it's a pain in the ass to make that move in a way along with the folds and like the everything in the fabric to make it look right. It's a good job on the animators for doing it here. Also, yeah, I've had mornings like that, Stolas. Boy, have I. Some really good micro movements, like the way that he's like shaking his head in his hands. Look at that. That's really nice. This is really just like Stolas always just has really good character animation. I think it's partly because he's a relatively complicated character to animate, so there's really no way to under animate him in the same way that there is with the imps, but this is so nice and like the little elastic snap of the face. Oh, that's good. I want to see the label on those pills. I don't imagine I can read it from here, but... Something happy pills. That makes sense. Oh, there's the boy. Okay, I need to... look at Blitz's animation here, because that looks hilarious. Oh, bit crushing how I hate thee. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that is really... Oh, that's cute. The little scratching at the window like a cat thing. That's adorable.
know still being married isn't a big enough occasion, but to be fair, it's no picnic being married to a boring stiff like Stolas.
I'm sorry, are we talking about the boring stiff? Okay, yeah, sure. But of course his wife doesn't know him. Why would she?
Stella, what in hell is this?
Ugh, Stolas, you know I like throwing parties.
Not divorced party. Premiere Pro, please, would you just scroll through the thing when I tell you to scroll through the thing? Thank you. Not divorced anniversary party. Yeah, sure.
Stella, what in hell is this?
Ugh, Stolas, you know I like throwing parties. Plus, it's true, so you can come if you want.
That's a nice little match cut. Okay, character design time. Aw, they're boyfriends. That's cute. Another moment of good compositing. I mean, I've talked about it a million times already, but just like variety, right? Like a bunch of different kinds of peacocking noble fucking rich assholes showing off in the background. But they're different from each other, like they're distinct, they have all kinds of different expressions of themselves. As fucking rich-ass nobles trying to show off at a party would, right? Like, they would all have, like, distinct, different aesthetics and, like, trying to show off with their own unique style thing. Like, world building, it's good good character design is good world building, right? You should give a shit about the people in your world who aren't your main characters. This is something, like, this is one of my frustrations with Fire Emblem as a franchise, right? Is that it's a franchise that has such a laser narrow focus on the special people that are in your party or like the enemy leaders or whatever, that one of the weaknesses of Fire Emblem character design a lot of the time, like pretty much every game, is that they just don't really give a shit about anyone who isn't like the main characters, right? So you have these characters who are fighting to save the world from the evil dragon shadow, blah, blah, whatever threat is threatening the world right now. But every time your characters go anywhere and encounter any NPC anywhere, they're just like, copy pasted. They're nobodies. Like the visual language of the game just explicitly tells you don't give a shit about these people. They're not interesting. They have nothing to offer. They are game pieces to be moved about, right? Like, and that's a weakness in the world building of games like Fire Emblem. That I just appreciated about Helluva Boss, that it like takes it takes a more proactive approach to making the world that it's set in. Same thing with Has Been Hotel, by the way. It takes a proactive approach to making the world that it's set in feel like it's full of people and not just cardboard cutouts that are standing in for the concept of people. Like, look at that fucking guy. Right? Like, you get the sense of like, oh, okay, like there's some similarity between him and Stella in the sense of like they're both demons. Yes, they're both bird demons. But like different expressions of like having this long feathered mane thing falling down behind their head. It's like little things.
No.
Hello, ma'am. That is a good-looking dress.
Stolas is terrible in bed. I swear to fuck, he just lays there staring at the wall and I have to do everything. It's embarrassing.
Lady! Stella, I know you have your own circumstances. I'm sure, like, you've been through some shit of your own. No one can be happy living in the kind of world that you live in, but come the fuck on! You just said that you are bad in bed, right? Like, if you... like, motherfucker, if you're, like, out there complaining, like, oh, yeah, my partner is just, like, so inactive and unengaged when we're fucking, it's like, yeah, that's because you... Then clearly you're fucking failing to excite them. You're failing to provide them with anything to get interested or engaged in. When you say, like, oh, so shitty in bed, they don't do anything. It's like, yeah, no, wonder why. Jay could maybe be the fucking other half of the equation. Like, come on. As like, also, Stolas might not be that into you because of reasons, but like, also, it's like that shit of like making fun of a partner for being bad in bed is always just like, it's such a red flag. Because most people, if you manage to actually engage them emotionally, physically, erotically, like whatever it fucking takes, depending on the relationship you have, is like, being good in bed is not hard. Like, it's not a... We have this cultural expectation of like, oh, only certain special people with like super skills are good. No, everyone is good in bed if like... if there is a trust between the partners, if there's inquisitiveness, if there's like curiosity, if like there's enjoyment, like if there's a want to please each other, a want to show each other like affection, and like it's not hard. It's not a hard thing. Anyway, it's that's such a low fucking blow, Stella.
I'm glad one egg fell out of me so I could stop pretending to want to fuck his scrawny twig ass.
Not divorced indeed. Another lovely little compositing thing. There's a literal wall between Stolas and Stella. Right? Like, and that's a directorial choice, like in terms of like the way that you compose a shot, is like, okay, so there's a huge barrier between who Stolas is and who Stella is, so literally put them on opposite sides of a wall, right? Just good filmmaking there. And also like that Stella is over here surrounded by toadies laughing at her jokes, and Stolas is here pointedly alone.
What a pathetic fucking man!
Again, the sound design, like the little bird noises that Stolas makes, very good.
Do you have anything stronger than this?
We have absinthe, Your Highness.
Bring me all of it.
Poor people. I'm so glad that they're not allowed it. Not come anywhere near me.
That was really nice. Hang on.
I'm so glad that they're not allowed it.
Like, the guy, like, being pushed in, the little stumble, and then the shot glass coming in, and then he catches it effortlessly. Ah, that's a nice little piece of animation. Again, that thing is that thing of, like, all you had to do was just have the guy walk in. Didn't need, like, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to make it fancy. You didn't need to make it cool or give it a sense of character, but they did, and I appreciate that.
Can you imagine if you didn't have money?
Stolas, sir!
I'm fine.
We got this nasty imp trying to sneak into your chambers. What should we do with him?
Ah, the little rose-tinted.
Into my chambers, really? Oh, well, that is concerning. Leave him to me. I will handle him accordingly. Follow me, imp.
Portraits again. Wow, don't they look happy together? I had someone tell me that like there was a portrait of like Stolas, Stella, and Octavia where they sort of looked happy together, and they felt like that constituted evidence that once upon a time their marriage was happy. And I'm like, no, a portrait in a rich person's home is a form of propaganda. That's the first purpose. Like, that's what portraits were invented for. Like, that's the reason why there is a history of portraiture, is rich people wanted propaganda for themselves to portray themselves in the best possible light. Right? That's the distinction here, right? Like, Stolas loves his daughter. Slightly different vibe here.
Look, I didn't mean to interrupt your, whatever, the party. I was just trying to...
Don't bother with excuses. I know why you were here.
You do?
Yes, you were here to ravish me, weren't you?
the little riser in the music, like the tension of like, of course he's gonna undercut it with a joke. Stolas. You know, you two motherfuckers could just talk to each other. Wait, hang on. I have misunderstood the timeline here. This is before... This is before they become a couple. They haven't been a couple yet, have they? This is their first grown-up adult meeting, isn't it? Ah, right. This wasn't present day. Because of course, why would it be? Why would Stella in present day want Stolas dead? She has sort of given up on the fun of just humiliating him in front of everyone else. And now she just like she always viewed him with contempt, but then, right, so this is their meeting as adults. So Stolas recognizes Blitz? Does Blitz recognize Stolas?
Here to ravish me, weren't you?
You?
Why else would you be breaking into my room? You could have asked to visit, you know. It's been a long time, but I have a very good memory.
Yeah, Stolas recognizes Blitz. Blitz, probably in all the trauma fog, doesn't remember Stolas as much, maybe? I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm preempting things. Of course, we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, you know, I figured, you know, since you're a prince and all, it might just be easier to scale the walls and slip on in. It certainly is easier than going through your fucking staff.
One would think you might be here for nefarious reasons if you are sneaking in during...
Yeah, he's trying to steal the book, obviously, because he wants it for establishing him to do the job. Okay, so we're playing out... So we're playing out a continuation of the interaction as children? Is that what we're sort of going for thematically here? Is that, like, Blitz is once again just there to steal something, but time and tide has changed so much about, yeah. It does imply that Blitz held on to the that Stolas held on to the fantasy of Blitz all throughout his years. Like that one memory of that one time he had a friend that he actually, like, had fun with. And, like, he's sort of been clinging on to that desperately, but Blitz had so much other shit going on that it's completely been purged from his mind, understandably.
The cover of night.
Well, I wanted to crash the party, and it's always more fun, you know, to make an entrance.
I recall how you enjoy making an entrance. So, over 2 decades since I last saw you, are you still a circus clown?
Oh, no, not anymore. No, I kill people now.
Oh, how afraid should I be?
Well, I mean, how afraid do you want to be?
Oh.
It's so funny that both of them, like, Stolas is putting on this fucking flirty act. Right, like, oh, you're here to ravish me, aren't you? Oh. Like, he's putting on this flirty act, but the moment Blitz actually, like, pushes it a little bit, he's like, oh my god, this works! Like, oh! Like, the moment Blitz, like, actually engages with it, is like, oh! He doesn't know what to do. And Blitz, like, much the same way, he's only, like, clearly Blitz is only even playing along with this because Stolas initiated it. So they're both these stupid idiots playing, like, a game that neither of them really chose to play, but just because, like, oh shit, like, the other guys go, okay, shit, I have to play along. Gay panic. Queer panic. Just, oh, precious boy. He didn't think the flirting would work. It's like the thing of, like, is that fucking, not Mr. Krabs. It's the other little plankton. It's the plankton, like, I don't know. I never thought I'd make it this far.
Well,
Very good. A really nice face journey there of, like, oh shit, it's actually working. It wasn't supposed to work that fast. Shit, okay, what do we do? What do we do? I want this, I don't want this, I'm scared, I don't know what's the... I'm gonna keep pretending like this is definitely what I had planned. Like, you see him going through that, like, that panic journey of, like, shit, like, this is going too fast, but I don't want it to stop. How do I make this keep going, but, like, try and reassert some control over it? That's not gonna work.
Well, you know, I was teasing. I don't really...
Now you seem pretty tense. How about I help you out there?
You know, this is, getting a little bit hot.
Stolas, you dumb idiot. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? You opened with, oh, you're here to ravish me, aren't you? You opened with that, you dipshit. How do you, I'm sorry, but, like, no means no, obviously. If Stolas isn't ready, Blitz shouldn't be pushing it. Also, you opened with, oh, you're here to ravish me, aren't you? Like, I'm sorry, buddy, but you are sending mixed signals.
I'm starting to feel it getting very hot. Oh, what are you doing?
Hang on. Again, this is fantasy. We're playing around. It's a cartoon. No one's actually getting hurt. In real life, if someone expresses any kind of discomfort or doubt, back off immediately. Don't ask questions. But we can play around because it's a cartoon.
Very hot. Oh.
I do love that line. Oh! That is a very good noise.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Oh, that's good. And nice framing, that we're still, like, the framing is reminding us that Blitz is doing this entirely for utilitarian purposes.
What are you doing? I barely remember your name.
It's Blitz.
Oh, didn't it have an O at the end? Like a clown name? I remember... Oh.
Yeah, well, it's silent now, okay? So call me Blitz.
Okay. Blitz, what are you doing to me?
What do you want me to do to you?
Well...
That's a way to discover your kink, right? Like, that's a way to find out that you have a thing for that. Like, Blitz realizes, oh shit, he's gonna see, need to distract, what do I do, it's like he can't think of anything else. And then it turns out that, oh shit, our boy has a little bit of a pain kink, doesn't he?
There.
Again, some really nice, like, pay attention to Blitz's hand here. Like, the way that he, like, walks his fingers up the knee. And then leans his weight on it. It's like he's escalating, like, the physical contact. I see that little back arch, you little bottom. And still, again, the little wiggle of the head, right? Like that little, this is something I've talked about before, like Milt Kahl, right? Like, I don't need to reiterate, like, but the Milt Kahl head swaggle thing, like the little micro rotations of an object in 3 dimensions in order to express like a thing, it's so much harder than it seems to do that correctly in a way that doesn't go off model, that doesn't look awkward or weird. It seems like such a simple thing, but that little thing with, like, between the face structure, which has, like, this very sharp geometric edge on the front for the nose, and the hat, and, like, sort of making it work with the collar and the feathers, which are, like, stylized flat. It's like that little shake of the head is actually, like, that's quite impressive. Captain Gay Panic. Again, Stolas always gets the best animation. Like, I don't know who's animating him, but clearly, like, they love playing with this character's physicality. Like, the way he plants his feet. Like, the swoop, like, the swooping curves on the way that, like, his torso transitions into his legs is, like, another thing that feels like that would be quite difficult to handle well. Because, like, the thing about, like, having those digitigrade legs, right? Like, where this is technically the heel and those are the toes and that whole thing is the foot, is, like, the inward sway. And the same thing with Luna, right? The inward sway on that, it can be, you can get into trouble making the character feel planted on the ground. Like, you can get into trouble making the character feel like they're balanced. Making the character feel like they like have their weight under control. That's another thing the animator is doing a really good job at. And again, the hand acting, right? Of course, like, Stolas is so much about his hand acting a lot of the time. What he's doing, like, that little... that little wrist thing, like, where he flaps the hand down and then brings it up into, like, this, like, little gestures like that that give him, like, a lot of personality.
I'm starting to feel it getting very hot. Oh.
Oh. What a way to find out, honestly.
Oh my fuck. Wow. Oh, you are so forward, Blitz. Oh, what are we doing?
No, stay down, damn it.
Oh, so you like to command? You like being in charge, hmm?
Does he, though?
Yeah, I sure do.
Oh, so you're a kinky little imp, are you? Do you like it when I talk to you dirty? I want you to me with your...
Ah, here it starts. Here's the tradition.
Get it all the way through me, you...
Oh, stop it.
Yes, if that's what Blitzy wants. Blitzy, oh my... Yes. Oh.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. I mean, this is going to turn out great for everyone. So this is where I'm getting curious thematically. Like, it's interesting that Stolas has, like, it's the question of, like, does Stolas have masochism, or is he adopting it in this moment because he thinks, like, because part of the underpinning philosophy of BDSM, right? Like, it's like bondage, domination, submission, right? Sadism. The idea is that in submission there is freedom, right? Like being submissive, surrendering control to someone else is a way to, like, be completely freed from obligation, to be freed from like having to make decisions, from having to like worry about anything, because you surrender your control to someone else who takes control of all of those things and thus frees you to just, like, fully be yourself, and, like, be free in just, like, being in your feelings, being in your body. That's the idea, right? And the thing I'm thinking through here is I'm wondering to the what's the extent to which the show is going to engage with that part of it, right? To what extent is it going to engage with, like, the emotional, physical, like, the interplay, the philosophy, like, the reasons why people are into stuff like kink, like bondage? And to what extent is it just doing it because, like, hey, kink and bondage, that's edgy, right? Like, kink and bondage, that's transgressive, right? Like, this is... And that's the thing, like, you never know, right? Like, with edgy shows, is like, are they engaging with this thing deeply, or are they using the aesthetic of it because it is considered transgressive? I'm kind of curious about that.
Oh, I've never had anyone want me this way.
Oh, boy, baby boy, that's sad. That's really sad. I've never had anyone want me this way. Oh, that's heartbreaking, man. Like, but that's, again, going back to Stella, like, mocking him for his sexual performance in bed. It's like, yeah, no, I bet you haven't, kiddo. Yeah, like, of course you haven't. Like, and that's the other thing, right? Like, the thing that both Stolas and Blitz have is this huge emotional need to be wanted, right? And the ways that they go about, like, getting that validation from other people sort of inform them as characters. And Blitz, part of him, like, trying so fucking desperately to be wanted is, like, we saw that in like Truth Seekers. We saw that in like the way that he obsesses over Millie and Moxie and their relationship and protecting it at the same time as he like feels completely unworthy to be a real participant in it. By which I don't mean like he wants to be part of a threesome. I'm sure he does. But in the sense of like he fixates on their family unit but feels unworthy to like really be a part of it, but like still tries to act like like he has that tension where he wants to be wanted, he wants to be needed, but he also just can't let himself be vulnerable enough to actually achieve it. And Stolas very much has the same thing, right? Like he has only ever been a tool his whole life. He has been like, you're a child of the Goethia family, here's your responsibilities, do that shit, marry that bitch, like pop out that child, like create an heir, perform your function object, right? But being wanted for his body, being wanted for who he is, being wanted for like his interiority rather than just his functionality is completely foreign to him. He is like he says, no one has ever wanted me this way, right? Like he's never experienced being sexualized, being eroticized, being desired in that way. So of course this is incredibly intoxicating to him. Blitz, motherfucker, you better not run out with that fucking grimoire.
You have no idea how long I've craved this kind of passion, and how much it means that the one who wants me is my first ever friend.
There we go. There it is.
All right, fine. I can do this real fast.
The morning after real fast. Good boy. Good boy, Blitz. That's... good boy. That was the thing, is like, I was wondering whether they were gonna go there, that Blitz is gonna like actually abandon him in this moment after getting him so riled up, or if he's gonna like, or if it's gonna he's gonna turn around and be like, oh my god, okay. But it is still a thing, like, again, it's that thing about like Blitz has this deep, desperate need to be wanted. We saw it in his interaction with Fizz, like that he has this, I really want to make that kid laugh, like I really want to have a fun, positive interaction with my friend here, right? He's really desperate to please his father and his family, like he has this guilt complex thing, and that kind of seems to be what's triggering here, right? That he has like, that part of what motivates him to go back to Stolas here is like the feeling of guilt, which is not, it's not the best initial like position to start a relationship from, but of course that's kind of all Blitz really has, right? Like is this it's a sense of guilt and obligation that he can't quite deal with. Okay.
I can do this real fast.
That is a very good flash frame gag, by the way. The morning after real fast. I like that. It's a Gilligan cut, like fully a Gilligan cut.
Sorry, I fucked your husband.
What?
Oh, hey, we're recreating the scene from, the pilot. That's kind of sweet. Get fucked, Stella.
The fuck was that, Stolas?
That was the sound of a fucking divorce!
Freedom, huh? Once again, as children, Stolas has his first experience of doing something selfish, of like doing something for himself with Blitz, right? Like Blitz is the person who sort of sets him free emotionally to try and just like fucking enjoy himself for once. then we repeat that structure here, where it's like another encounter with Blitz, another interaction with him, where Blitz like gives him that sense of freedom and like the idea to pursue his passions and his wants and his like his desires openly, right? So like structurally, yes, it makes sense, right? Like it's just I'm still not. So what the story is doing is using the childhood connection, right? Like that Stolas would fixate so much on this one good memory that he's like ever had in his life, the poor boy. That like that is the reason that's the connection that bridges the gap that makes Blitz stay rather than just stealing the book and fucking off, right? That's what the story is narratively using the connection between them as children to solve. Again, I don't think that would be necessary. Like, I think Stolas could just express his loneliness as it is, as an adult. Like Blitz is there, like, playing the game, like, tying him up, doing the thing, and then Stolas just like, I've never had anyone want me like this before. I feel like that would be enough, right? That, like, Blitz realizes, oh, shit, this guy is like, oh, this isn't just some fucking upper crust shithead who's never given a shit about anyone else. This is someone who's actually hurt, and I can do something to help him with that hurt. I feel like that should be enough to trigger, like, the guilt thing. And, like, to trigger the guilt and, like, make him stay and, like, have the I can do this real fast. Like, god damn it, I have this fucking con. I feel like that would have been enough. I'm still not sold on the whole they met as children thing. But, like I said, in terms of how it's being played out, right? Like, this story is taking the trope, and they're playing it out really well. Like, they're drawing a lot of strings, they're tying them all up. Like, it's very well constructed as an example of that trope. I'm just not a fan of the trope itself. Right, so this is the morning after they went on their ill-fated date. I see. And he's drank himself to sleep in absinthe. Yeah, no, yeah. I get it. Poor boy. Oh, he has so many pictures. Aw. Wait, hang on. Someone's gonna yell at me in the comments if I don't. Yeah, Blitz. Horse with wings. Right, because horse obsession, of course. Yes, I noticed the horse obsession, I got it. I'm sure I'm missing something else that someone's gonna yell at me in the comments about, but you know. Ooh.
You show your age, your sweetness has run foul. Without a change, you're lost, exhausted by your time.
Okay, I can't play that too. Like, this is gonna get copyright claims. I mean, this is gonna get copyright claimed anyway, and I'm gonna dispute it, and it's gonna get released. But the songs, in particular, have a tendency to be really sticky, difficult copyright claims to deal with, so I'm just going to interrupt. I want to listen to this without talking over it, but just going to have to interrupt you there, Stolas. Plus, I missed, I think, some of the words you said at the start of the song, so let's just jump backwards a few seconds here. It's also notable that, like, in all of the pictures that Stolas has of him, Blitz looks profoundly disengaged from what's going on. Which, again, like, we understand why, right? Like, we understand what he's seeing, what he thinks of this relationship as I'm just being used for my body kind of thing. So he doesn't know that these are expressions of, like, genuine affection from Stolas.
your age, your sweetness has run foul.
Run foul. Aha, he's an owl. He's run foul. Haha, bird pun. Very good. I see you, lyricist. Good job. I'm begrudgingly forced to admit that that is a good bird pun. Right now I'm just looking at the animation because, like, we're doing what? 1, 2, 1, 2. We're animating on 2s here. And pretty consistently, too, even when we don't need to. I mean, it's still limited animation, but we're not going to switch to 1s for that, really? Oh, yes, we are. So here we're going on 1s for, like, the really slow movement. So, again, if you follow my channels, I'm sure you've heard this speech a million times already, but frame rates in animation. If you are animating every single frame, you're animating on 1s, right? If you're animating every other frame, you're animating on 2s. Most Disney movies, a lot of the animation, the 2D animation tends to be on 2s because animating on 1s is real fucking expensive and time-consuming. Richard Williams, The Thief and the Cobbler, that motherfucker animated at like 40 frames a second. He's a wild man. You should watch that movie someday if you get the opportunity for it. But generally, like most animation you'll ever see in your life, it'll jump up to animating on 2s sometimes, occasionally for like big moments, but like most of the time, not so fucking much. The other thing is limited versus full animation, right? And we see examples of those things, of both of those things in these shots. So here, where you can see like Stolas from frame to frame here as he's like shifting his weight and position, this is full animation because the whole character is being animated between frames. Like I'm sure they do some copy pasting here and there. Whereas, let's see if I can find, there was a shot of it. Occasionally, like when a character is, a full body shot isn't needed to animate. It's like, for example, during dialogue, you will get characters that do limited animation, which means we only animate the part of the character that needs to move in order to make the thing go. The classic example is Hanna-Barbera cartoons, where when a character is talking, it is only their head doing all of the gesturing while the body stays, for the most part, stable. Family Guy is limited animation as well, like the lip flaps just go, and they have like 2 or 3 canned animations, which is like push palm forward, lean backwards with arms out, right? Like, and that's also a limited animation format that's meant to save budget and time. Clearly for the music scene here, they're kind of going all the fuck out, because like there's some real, like, shoulder here, right? Okay, pay attention to the shoulder, would you? Do you see that? This little micro movement right there, that little tiny micro adjustment of the weight and the position of the arm and the shoulder, that is like, fuck me, that's the kind of shit that's like, that's Disney quality, right? Because it's not just that they're animating a lot of frames per second, right? It's also, what are they using those frames of animation to do? And it's like, it's not for big movements, it's not for the big key poses. These are for like little micro adjustments, little shifts of the weight, little things that the character is doing that's like part of their physical performance as they're acting out like the singing of the song. And this is one of the things that can, like, especially in things that have musical numbers, right? Using Family Guy as an example again, like Family Guy loves doing musical numbers because Seth MacFarlane has a fantastic singing voice. Like genuinely, that man can motherfucking sing, right? And they love to use that in Family Guy. But if you pay attention to like a lot of the music and singing animation that's done in Family Guy, they tend to use like key poses, right? Like not a lot of like little subtle micro adjustments of like a character's anatomy in order to move the thing around. This is much more like, this is Disney quality in the sense of it seems to be applying that same level of care for the character acting and that same level of interest in little tiny micro movements, little tiny micro expressions, little things that the character is doing, object work, for example, here, right? Where Stolas is running a hand across the shelf and like checking for dust as he's singing his lament, which is like, that's object work. This is him interacting with his environment and using that to inform the emotionality of the performance, right? And like paying attention to that, caring for that is like, that's what I would say would be like the definition of someone like of a musical number being like Disney quality, is like, because that's what Disney animators do. Pay attention to that the next time you watch any Disney movie with like a musical number. I'm thinking in my head right now of like Hunchback of Notre Dame, with Quasimodo during Out There, right? He does so much object work. He does so much like messing with his environment, touching things, interacting with them as he's singing that song about like his I Want song about like wanting to live one day among normal people, right? That's a hallmark of like Disney musical shit, is like characters who are doing their I Want songs, like really interacting, playing with the environment, like using that in the same way that a musical actor would use that when doing a performance on stage.
Run foul.
Like there, like that little thing of like pushes the ladder the last bit of the way, steps off of it, and then like holds onto it, rotates in order to like deliver the like that's some Gene Kelly shit right there. Like that's some you watch like the soulful ballad in like an old like 1950s musical, 1960s musical. That's the kind of like object work that the performers and those things like to do with their environments, right? Like that's classic Hollywood musical shit.
Foul. Without a change, you're lost, exhausted by your time.
Another little thing, right? Lost, exhausted by... Like, he does that little waver in his voice on the by, and you can see that in the animation of the mouth. You can see that little wobble, right? That just to match the actor's performance, we are showing the vibrato physically on the character. That's very good.
Your time on stage, then you walked in my room, and like sparks in the dark, life was so...
Oh, we're oh my god, they're really fully swapping into it. They're doing the little style swap thing again. The same thing they did in fucking Truth Seeker. Like, not to the same extent, like swapping into a completely different visual aesthetic, but I saw that. I saw that fucking transition. Like, the line work changes quality. Not quality in terms of, like, being good or bad, but quality in terms of, like expression. Like, you change there, like, the lighting changes the way that... I see you, that's good. Again, shout-outs to the compositor on this. I would imagine that the fucking Stardust things with the particle trails would be 3D animated, right? Surely. No, actually, that... I can't actually tell. I'm not 100% sure, because you can do frame rate limiting on 3D objects like that as well.
Suddenly thrilling and new. What's between you and I? Just a comfortable lie.
What's between you and I? Just a comfortable lie? Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is Stolas began their relationship, their sexual relationship, because he was putting on... Oh, hey, King of Lust Asmodeus. Because he was putting on, like, a lover boy persona, like, that suave, like, oh, you're here to ravish me. Like, rather than say, oh my god, my friend, I haven't seen you in 20 years, how have you been? Because he jumped to that, right? Because playing that persona was more comfortable for him than the vulnerability of actually expressing his emotions.
The fool who believes when...
Is the implication here that... Asmodean crystals. Is the implication here that he got that approach from reading, like, Asmodeus branded product novels? Like, he thinks that's the way to do it because he's been reading, like, lust influenced things and he doesn't quite know how to navigate love because his only education in this shit comes from like media that is, because we're in hell, right? Like, so love is not really available as a sin, right? But lust is.
I'm the fool who believes when...
Or is it a... Oh, no, Stolas, you're not gonna... Okay. Hang on. I guess we'll see. Again, the little turning thing, like turning a character in three-dimensional space, especially when they're holding something like a book, which is fucking hard to turn in 3D space. Very good job. I should probably listen to what he's actually singing, though.
Comfortable lie, I'm the fool who believes when you...
Is that rune script? Is that actually... Yeah, those are Nordic runes, aren't they? Huh. And I think they're accurate, even. Like, well, I mean, I don't know. It's probably not written in Old Norse. It's probably just using it as, like, a cipher. Man, I should have... I practiced reading and writing runes for a bit because I had, like, a Norse mythology phase in school. I never kept up with it, and I don't fucking remember any of it. I do wonder, like, is this just, like, copy pasta? Is this just gonna be, like, fucking lorem ipsum? Or does this... I'm sure this mean... No, what? I'm gonna call it. This means something. Like, there's full translations of this shit on a subreddit somewhere. And it's, like, all really important. I don't know.
In my eyes, Prince, all alone upon your throne, your power is so frail.
Okay. So we're opening the door, then the pages flip. Is that visually like the book is coming alive as like... Because it seems to be placed like a central element here. So whatever he's looking at... Because the thing I'm worried about here is that he's going to be desperate enough to like try and cast a love spell on Blitz or something like that.
I'm the fool who believes when you look in my eyes, Prince, all alone upon your throne, your power is so frail. You raise your voice, you have no choice inside your gilded jail.
Okay, respect to the lyricist. They didn't do Gilded Cage. Good. Little applause there. Like that, avoiding a cliche. Very nice.
The fuck are you doing?
Reflecting.
Well, stop! It's annoying to hear you screeching your silly woes.
Man, Stella has such good animation too sometimes. Like the hand animation that she's got here in this scene. Like along with like the head back and forth thing of like, well, stop, I'm annoyed, listen to blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's really good. There's a fucking lot of... There's a lot of cunt in this girl. In every sense of the word.
Well, stop! It's annoying to hear you screeching your silly woes all the time.
Why are you still here?
Oh, Stolas, my boy. Are you finally gonna actually... You can actually consummate the divorce? That would be lovely. Okay, hang on. I want to listen to the song again.
Owl in a cage, you show your age, your sweetness has run foul.
So, owl in a cage, you show your age, your sweetness has run foul. Again, bird pun.
Without a change, you're lost, exhausted by your time.
Without a change, you're lost, exhausted by your time. Okay? So, like, owl in a cage, nothing's changing, his world is, like, static and... Okay.
On stage, then
Yeah, time on stage, because for him, this is all performance, right? Yeah.
you walked in my room and like sparks in the dark, life was suddenly thrilling and new.
Also, little note on character design here. with the like the bags under the eyes and the tears like sort of running down his face from like the mascara and like the dark shadow on the eyes. Stolas is like taking on a much darker aspect here, right? He's sort of shifting ever so slightly a little bit towards the Disney villain, right? Like he's slipping a little bit towards like the design language of the bad guy, not in the sense of like he's necessarily going to be or do something evil, but like that there's a darker aspect to his.
What's between you
oh, good.
And I, just a comfortable life.
Like, and like that's a very nice reframing of like the costume, because this is him dressing up as like a prince, right? Like as a gorgeous, charming, dashing prince, like to seduce Blitz. But then that also works in terms of like if he wants to go all Phantom of the Opera on us.
I'm the fool who believes when you look in my eyes, Prince.
I'm a fool who believes when you look in my eyes, Prince. Yeah. The implication being that he sort of understands that he never really managed to build a real relationship with Blitz. Because it was all based on, like Blitz doesn't understand him as a lover. He understands it as transactional. But Stolas allowed himself to believe that something more could blossom, and now he's bitterly disappointed.
All alone upon your throne, your power is so frail.
Yeah. All alone upon your throne, your power is so... Again, also, like, the fucking opening the door with the cloak billowing dramatically, it's...
You raise your voice.
Like, it's not just sad-coded, it's also, like... It's also coded, like, I'm about to take a turn for the slightly darker. I think it's about
You have no choice inside your gilded jail.
The fuck are you doing?
Reflecting.
Well, stop! It's annoying to hear you screeching your silly woes all the time.
Why are you still here? You leave with Fia on weekends, but then you stay around the house despite everything.
I like tormenting you. I want to keep reminding you of what you did.
I know what I did. I would feel bad if I hurt you, but we both know I didn't do that. You and I were arranged for one reason, to birth a precautionary heir to the Goetia family. Nothing more. I tried so many years to make it comfortable for us, to have this family, but it was never enough. The only reason I have endured your constant insults and cruelty was for that girl to have a normal life. I cannot do this anymore. I want you out, now.
What do you mean, out?
I mean out! Out of this palace, out of my life. We are getting the divorce.
How dare you? What do you think the rest of the Goetia family will think? And
I don't care what your arrogant brother thinks. And the only thing the Goetia family wanted from our marriage is already 17, so it's over. I'm done.
Okay. So this, that was like a quarter of a second away from like full-on spousal domestic violence, right? Which is the thing I've talked about before with the way that the show handles that extremely abusive dynamic between Stolas and Stella. Where like it in season 1, often it felt like the show wasn't entirely taking it seriously. Like that it was being played for like, she's the wife who's a pissy bitch about her husband. Like it was sort of playing into those like sitcom stereotypes. It didn't quite feel like it was taking it seriously. This feel like that shot of the hand coming up, right? Like where here they're drawing attention to it. Like, this is a shot. They want you to notice what Stella is about to do. They want you to pay attention to, like, this is about to be, like, someone beating their spouse, right? This is about to be fucking domestic violence. And then Stolas says, fuck you. No, right? So here they're taking it seriously. Like, that's a threat. I could feel my heart rate racing, like, when I saw her wind up for that shit.
Think the rest of the Goetia family will think. And Drelf
I don't care what your arrogant brother thinks. And the only thing the Goetia family wanted from our marriage is already 17, so it's over. I'm done.
Fine. I have no desire to stay in the place of a traitorous embarrassment. You have fallen from what little grace you had, and I know you'll pay for it.
Huh, blood. Good shot, this, by the way. Like, the symmetry of it. I was worried this was going to turn out to be a lot more bloody than it ended up.
Out of my life. We are getting the divorce.
The little Ghibli rise here. Like, as Stella sort of realizes, like he's actually fucking defying her and she can't handle that. The little rise, the little like the hair coming up. That's like, it's not just Ghibli, right? Like, that's reductive to say, but it's the little thing like that Ghibli movies like to do when a character experiences like rising emotion, that it expresses through their haircut, like rising up as though there's some kind of energy animating it from inside. It's a good detail.
How dare you? What do you think the rest of the Goetia family will think? And Drelf
I don't care what your arrogant brother thinks. And the only thing the Goetia family wanted from our marriage is already 17, so it's over. I'm done.
Fine.
Love me an animation smear. That's quite good. Okay, so it's not just a smear, it's also a doubling, right? Because we're bridging the gap from this key pose to that key pose. And how do we do that? Well, we literally just duplicate Stella's hand, like smearing in midair, and then also her hand over here, where you can see like there's something going on with it, and then it resolves like into its final position. That's a good smear. Like, that's really nice, soft.
Fine.
Like, that makes that snap of the hand look really good in motion.
I have no desire to stay in the place of a traitorous embarrassment. You have fallen from what little grace you had, and I know you'll pay for it.
Again, shout out to the sound designer. As Stella turns around.
Pay for it.
That woof, right? Good sound design. Again, good use again of posture, right? Like, we talked about this, like the thing about like the great legs and like keeping posture. Stola's upright, like chest out, puffed out, defiant, strong, sending her off. And then the moment it's over, you see like the whole body relax and then begin to collapse as he has to like catch his weight. And this is also just like a really fucking nice turn. Like the way the arcs overlap, like with the hand coming up there and then like the hand up to the face. That's a really nicely animated little swirl. That's really good. funny demon show. Dick jokes. Wee. Like the contrast from the pilot to fucking this, right? Like the pilot is all like, if you need somebody kill, you can call the imps. La da 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 da. Guns, killing children. Woo. And then we get to here and it's like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that's the same show. Why not? Yeah, that makes sense as a progression. Like, compare and contrast this to fucking Cherubs, right? So, like, that's the circus tent, but stained with blood because of a reason. It's horseless cowboy once again. Makes sense. Like, again, the dialogue recorders. This is another thing that's deceptively hard. When you're doing dialogue recording, right? When you're doing, like, when you're recording a whole bunch of different actors, like, ideally what you want is for all of them to come into the same studio, record with the same microphone under the same conditions so that you can control for every part of the room noise. You can control, like, for every part of, like, the resonance. You can have the same settings so that you know that all of the voices are going to sound, like, concordant with each other, right? Like, so there isn't, like, a disconnect where one character sounds more tinny than the other or what the fuck ever. I don't know about that, but this is something that that became a huge issue in the voice acting industry over the course of, like, the height of the pandemic, right? When everyone was fucking stuck at home, all of a sudden you have, like, these 10 billion voice actors spread out all over the fucking world who have to record their work from, like, at home in their home setups. And, like, most voice actors, they have good home setups. They have, like, good, like sound deadening. They have, like, good, but it's still, like, all of a sudden you have to account for, like, 6,000 different brands of microphone. Like, God knows how many, like, digital audio interfaces. God knows how many recording devices. Like, God knows how many devices someone is using that has, like, some kind of preset compressor setting that you have to account for when you're, like, trying to mix this shit to sound good in the audio mix. And I just, like, shout out to the people who handle that shit, like the voice production coordinators, dialogue recorders, like the producers and the editors and the audio QA people. They're the people who have to make sure that, like, if someone is recording remotely from somewhere else, that doesn't fuck up the sound design of the whole fucking episode somewhere. It's a lot of fucking hard work. It's a lot of really skilled work to get that shit to put together. So just shout out to the people at Horseless Cowboy. Because, like, again, it's invisible because when it's done right, no one fucking notices it. But it's hard. Brandon Rogers, yes. Bryce Pinkham, good job. Paimon. That's a Genshin Impact character. Okay. I've seen the name Jonathan Freeman before. I fucking have. I swear to God, I have. He was voiced. There was Jafar. I knew it. Ha! It was Jafar. Jonathan Freeman, born in 1950, is an American actor, puppeteer, and singer known for voicing Jafar in Disney's Aladdin franchise and Kingdom Hearts, and the 2011 Aladdin music. Oh, he did the musical as well. I didn't know that. Hang on. So he. And, like, of course, a bunch of Disney shit where he's just reprising the voice of Jafar a bunch. Let's see. Shining Time Saloon. Yeah, House of Mouse. He was on the Hercules episode. Of course he was. American Dragon, Jake Long. He's done some Law and Order. He was on Elementary as well. As Holder, right. Shit, I haven't watched Elementary in ages. And it's got the Helluva Boss credit down there. He's been in a bunch of Kingdom Hearts games. Disney games as Jafar. Like, Jafar seems to be, like, his biggest... I need to find his IMDb. Just a second. Hang on. Sorry. There's going to be nothing on screen for this. But, like, the man is also a puppeteer. I did not know that. Does this murder make me look gay? A podcast series. That sounds interesting. Disney Princess Read-Alongs. Huh. Okay, let's see. Law and Order, Too Big to Fail, The Hoax, Peter Pan. Peter Pan? Was Jafar in the Peter Pan video game? Okay. Or maybe he just did a voice for it. He did the voice of Satan on Celebrity Deathmatch? Oh, that's a fucking throwback and a half. Let's see. The Associate. What did he do before Aladdin? Not a lot, actually. Okay. The Days and Nights of Molly Dodd? Interesting. I just like looking up the careers of these people because like a lot of the people, like especially voice actors who are like known for one thing, you look back at their career and they have like he was in The Producers? Oh, the 2005 musical version. Right. Not a great movie adaptation, but really fucking great on Broadway apparently. Cool. Man, I want to know about his fucking puppeteering, though. Okay, I can't really find anything that sort of shows that specifically where he's, like, acting as a puppeteer. I would love to know who he has puppeteered. Like, if he's done, like, work on, like, with the Hensons, or... There was a TV movie called Aladdin on Ice, where he did... Oh, it's a retelling of the Disney film Stage on Ice and featuring songs and clips from the animated film. And he provided voice work uncredited. They used Robin Williams' voice for that as well. Fucking Disney assholes. But I guess that's just clips from the movie then. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't realize they recorded stuff like Aladdin on Ice to be sold as like videotapes, but I guess it was the 90s. Anyway, sorry, I just got distracted by IMDb there. Stolas' dad is named Paimon? Okay, so then Paimon, it's a spirit named in early grimoires. That's why, right? So Paimon is taking her name from there. Because I can only think of emergency food, unfortunately. I haven't even played Genshin Impact more than like an hour. And still. It just robs him of his menace. Doesn't it? Like, fuck, I cannot associate him with anything other than that little fucking annoying flying... like tiny cheapy creature. It's like Paimon. Oh, scary Demon King Paimon. Oh. And he's also... Wait, is the ringleader Cash Bugzo? Would that then be... Is that Stolas' dad? Is he playing both their dads? Huh. Again... The episode is clearly drawing like a very strong parallel that the relationship with their fathers is a big part of the thing that informs Blitz and Stolas' relationship. So that, as casting, that's kind of genius. That's kind of cool. Like that's okay. So then have the same actor play both of these shitty dads. Since it's a special guest, I would imagine he doesn't come back much, Paimon. Is he dead, like, in the current... Don't tell me. Don't spoil it, but, like, that would be good. I would like it if he was dead. Don Daryl Rivera? Hang on, I know that name. Don't I? He originated the role of Iago in Disney's Aladdin on Broadway, opposite Jonathan Freeman. So we have both fucking Jafar and Iago. Ha! So where do I know his name from? Oh, Let the Right One In, Only Murders in the Building. Right. And he was in Has Been Hotel doing a couple of voices. I see. Okay. Leander Lewis, Mason Bloomberg, Georgina Leahy. I haven't looked up Georgina Leahy. Oh, that's a... Ma'am, that's a very nice IMDb picture. Hello. See, Pink City, Class Act, Bryce, Spider-Man, No Way Jose, Pregnant Spider-Man. What? Okay. I guess she played Pregnant Spider-Man. That threw me for a loop for a second there. Okay, so minor roles mostly. But she's been in some cool shit, like... Okay. Yeah, lots of web shorts and, like, some UK productions. Interesting. IMDb pages are just fun. They're just cool. Whoop. Good job on the storyboarding. Once again, like, never forget that animation is foundationally a collaborative discipline. Like, deeply, desperately a collaborative discipline. Something like Helluva Boss, it's a fucking miracle that it exists, but, like, there is a thing that happens, on the internet where, like, people, they attribute every part of Helluva Boss. That's Viv Medrano and, like, Brandon Roth. They're the people who made Helluva Boss. No. Like, they're leads. They are important. Like, they are leaders on the project, but, like, it doesn't exist without these fucking people doing the majority of the work by virtue of there is a lot more of them than there are of Viv Medrano and Brandon Rogers. They are all responsible for the successes and the failures of Helluva Boss. Like, everything good and bad about it, it's all of them. It's not just the names that are sort of on the created by thing. Again, the FX team doing hero work on this fucking thing. The cleanup artists, God, you don't, there's no animation without cleanup artists. There just isn't. I wonder, like, because everyone, like, and also this is the thing I'm noticing in the credits, like, people seem to play many roles and, like, wear a lot of hats on these productions, which is pretty common, like, for smaller animation studios, that, like, people do whatever work needs to be done. And I just want to stress it, like, you need everyone. You need all of them. Design and visual development. That one's also fucking important, because that's how you get, like, backdrop designs that are, like coherent and consistent from, like, episode to episode, is you have a good vis dev team that can, like, keep that visual identity strong. Post-production audio services. Good job to the people at Atlas. Like, we talked about it, like, when the sound design is good, you don't notice it, right? Jefferson Freeman with Matt Novak and Christopher French. Stola sings Sam Haft, Jefferson Friedman, performed by Pinkman. And again, the compositors, I want you to, like, spare a thought for them when you see a good episode of Helluva Boss. Spare a thought for the people who had to put all this shit together, like, who have to make all this shit look good together. Okay. I was worried it was going to be a more extreme start to the season. I was worried it was going to be more blowing everything up, right? I was worried it was going to be more like, oh, we're going to fucking go hard now. No, it was like a clear progression of the emotional storyline from where we left off to where we are now. Again, I'm still not sold on the they met as children thing. I'm not 100% sold on it, but as an execution of the trope, it was very well done, right? You can't ask for better of an execution to that specific story trope, right? Even if my preference is that they had met as adults, right? Like, that as adults they had met and figured out that their damages overlap in a way that, like, creates this really emotionally intense and destructive relationship thing, because it changes the power dynamic between them more than a bit, that Stolas remembers Blitz from when they were children, and that Blitz doesn't seem to remember Stolas. It changes the dynamic between them in a way that, okay. How long did this take me? I haven't looked at the time for the recording here. It's like 2 hours! Okay, yeah, sure. Yep, we're back. We are back. 20 minutes of episode, 2 hours of me rambling on about it. That's gonna be par for the course, isn't it? Remember when I was like, I'll keep this under one? Like, remember that when that was the ambition to keep shit under 1 hour ever? Remember when I thought I could do that? Remember when that was these star-studded, like, innocent younger days. Once upon a time. Anyway, say hello to the Discord. Oh, that doesn't look right. Say hello to the Discord. They've been here the whole time. Trying very hard not to spoil things for me, fortunately. Oh, nope, that was too much. Hang on. I need to... Slowly. Hey, there you are. Hello, hi. I've been recording this live for the Discord, who've been listening to me react to this thing. I've mostly not been looking at what they've been talking about, because, you know, I didn't want to get spoiled on anything. But yeah, so if you wanna join in on those recordings, like catch a link to the, I'll put a link to the Discord in a comment down there. It'll last for 24 hours. You can come and watch, and I think I'll do some more live recordings of these reactions later on down the line. But yeah, hello chat. Did you enjoy the live reaction? Oh, that's a lot of GIFs. You had a good time. Very good. Oh, there's a translation for the rune book, is there? I figured there was... Is it actually something that's relevant, like, that matters? Or is it just, like, it's a shit post that they've hidden, like, if you can read this, you're a nerd? Oh, it is important. Okay, give me the translation, then. Let's see. Unless, hang on, wait. If they give the translation in an episode later, I don't want to hear it. But if it's something that's, like, only if someone bothers to translate. They don't. Okay, cool. Give me the translation then. I'm sure one of you has it. Okay. Bestowed to mainly succubi and incubi by the king of sin and lust, these crystals grant access to the mortal realm. Any hellborn in possession of a registered crystal may be granted portal summoning. It is common practice to have the crystal paired with another object for convenience. Jewelry is the most popular option. This printing and rune shit was fun at first. Writing and rune things was fun at first, but I don't know. We'll definitely not be doing it right now. We should be spending more time with our friends and family. So there is a joke in there, but also the implication is, oh, there's another way for Blitz to gain access to the mortal realm. He doesn't necessarily need Stolas' grimoire. That's the lie, then. The comfortable lie that Stolas is letting Blitz believe that he needs the book so that he has to keep coming back to Stolas. And if he finds out that he can get there with a simple crystal that'll grant him access, Stolas is afraid that, like, Blitz will abandon him for good. Is that the idea, then? Okay, that is... I see chat is saying I've not quite hit the mark there. Okay. It's a reading. Okay. You're kind of close, but kind of far. That's cool. Let me figure it out. Sure, like, I'll see how it plays out later on down the thing. Don't spoil it, but interesting. So, because, like, there's crystals embedded in the grimoire, right? Like, so one imagines that that's where that comes from. But, like, given that Fizz is the boyfriend of Asmodeus, like, would he be Blitz's in to getting a hold of one of those crystals, like, independently? Because that's another opportunity for Blitz to screw up an old relationship real hard. Stop asking questions. No. You're just gonna have to control yourselves from answering. Zero trust for Blitz. Huh? Listen, I love the boy. He's a sweet man. He's also a flaming disaster. Like, boy is a trash fire. Like, I don't think like, there's no situation in the world where he has an opportunity to do the right thing that I don't think he could fuck up, right? Must resist spoiling. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? But yeah, like, the emotional toxicity of the situation that Stolas is putting himself into as well. Like, Stolas is blowing up a part of his life here, right? Like, he has been the husband to Stella as he was dutifully bound to be for, like, God, like 17 years at least, right? Like, since at least since Octavia was born. And he's like cutting that shit loose now. So again, depending on how they want to play it, like a divorce has a tendency to make a man act unwise. Both in like the midlife crisis way where they buy a fancy car and they try to hit on girls who are 20 years younger than them. But also just in the sense of like, that's an uprooting of a certainty. Even if that certainty is toxic, that can make people do some stupid shit, right? Because it's like, well, shit, I've done it now. I've jumped into the deep end of this thing. Might as well go all the way. Might as well do more like reckless shit. Might as well like take other sudden reckless actions that turn out poorly for me and everyone around me. Don't know if that's how they're gonna go with Stolas necessarily, but you know, that's what divorce tends to do to a motherfucker. I hope he reacts to Look My Way as well, especially before the most recent episode. Yeah, there's also like there's a bunch of like I've also not yet listened to Addict, right, which is like the Angel Dust song. That's not canon, I think, but which is like sort of considered important to his characterization. And I'm not 100% sure about how I want to engage with like the external media around the thing. I want to go in chronological order, I think, is what I want to do. Is Look My Way chronological with anything in the show? It's canon, it's chronological. Right, so I'll just figure out when it was published and I'll watch it concurrently with like when it was published relative to the episodes that I'm looking at. After 6 or 7 but before 8. Yeah, something like that, I guess. I guess we'll take a look at that then. So yeah, like, as an episode, that was really well constructed. Like the scripting, I will say, like, this is one of the weaknesses that Helluva Boss has had occasionally, is that the script, like, lots of good ideas, the connective tissue may be a little bit weak, like, maybe not quite knowing exactly where it's going. Like, not quite, like, not having, like, a really strong through line that takes it to a strong conclusion. This episode was very, very tightly constructed. Like, everything led to everything else, right? Like, it set up a bunch of threads. It tied them up very nicely. Not conclusively, but it brought it all together by the end into the thing of, like, these are the memories, these are the experiences that are pushing Stolas to finally blowing up his relationship with Stella for good, right? That's all very coherent in a way that something like Cherub definitely wasn't. Something even like Spring Breakers had a little bit of that sort of focus problem where it's like, it sort of had a giant kaiju battle at the end to resolve its plot rather than actually resolving like the conflict between Blitz and Verosica in a way that interacts with their characters. It's just a big monster shows up, I guess it's over now, right? And that's not, like, that's not necessarily bad because it's a comedy show more than a soap opera at that point. But now that it's a soap opera, it's like, clearly a bunch of effort went into making sure that this episode was a lot more coherent with itself. Who knows if that's going to last? Like, I'm sure this season will have stinkers, but yeah, like, a very strong, like, very well constructed episode. Now, I've been standing this whole time, which, was probably a mistake on my part. I should probably have anticipated that this would be like 2 hours. So I need to lower my desk and sit my ass down. Ugh. Why was I standing? Because it's good for you in small amounts. Ugh. Better than sitting down all day, right? Like, I can sit down for like 8 hours a day just working on shit at my computer, so standing is a good idea. Am I still recording? Yeah. You are all on screen on YouTube right now. Mind what you say, because your usernames are visible. Everyone will know your secret shames. I see Chad is having fun with that. Like, that was a very well-constructed episode. I like the idea of, like connecting Stolas and Blitz through their fathers, right? Like, that the trauma they experience at the hands of their fathers is the source of, like, many of their problems, but also the source of a lot of their connection, right? That they've experienced the same kind of being used as a thing neglect at the hands of fucking Jafar voicing both of the motherfuckers too, is like, again, structurally that's very strong. I really like this scene where the kids are playing, right? It's not especially exciting. it's not especially funny, right? Like, it's not in the traditional sense. This doesn't feel like something that it's worth wasting time on, but it is, because the interplay between Stolas and, like, no, not between Stolas, between Blitz and Fizz. I'm sure I've gotten those names wrong a billion times over the course of this recording. The interplay between Blitz and Fizz informs a lot of his character, right? Like, the way that he engages with the world, the way that he likes to push other people's buttons, first of all. The way that, like, he takes any given opportunity to make someone else happy, right? That's very much like part of Blitz's character, apparently since he was a child, is that, like, I want to make him laugh. I want to make him happy. I want to, like, I can goof around. I can be a clown and I can make him smile. Fuck it, I'm going to do it, right? Like, that is very much Blitz's personhood, right? Like, his character is, like, he has that instinct for making a fool out of himself to please others. That then, like, filtered through, like, decades of guilt and self-blame and shit like that becomes, like, a different thing in him. But, like, I like that they, like, take the time of letting Blitz and Fizz just be friends as children and clearly have a good relationship, right? And, like, showcase the way that, like, Blitz finds a way to make Fizz laugh, and you can just see that, like, having found that, he kind of goes, oh, shit, I found the laugh button. Let's hammer it, right? Like, it's informative. Like, it informs a lot about, like, at least I feel about, like, how Blitz is as an adult. I'm wondering the degree to which it's gonna inform Fizz, because adult Alex Brightman Fizz feels like a decidedly different character than Kid Fizz right now, but again, I don't really know him that much yet. A detail you might like: in all shots of Stolas' castle in the present, it has Stolas' Goetian symbol, but as a child it has Paimon's. I mean, I would imagine. Or Paimon, or whatever.
Then there'll be fun. That's so gross. Stop.
And again, and also his tendency to take it too far, right? That, like, having found a way to make this kid laugh, he also takes it too far and he makes a mess. Oh, hey, Blitzo takes things too far and makes a mess out of it because he doesn't know how to moderate himself or regulate his emotions. Oh, hey, that sounds like maybe that could come up later in his life at some point. Also, very ADHD coded. Just gonna say, like, this thing about having trouble figuring out exactly when you're going too far, or like when you should be pulling yourself back. Yeah, that's very ADHD. It's like it's at least 80 HDs, right? Maybe 81, maybe 100, but it's at least 80 of them. It's very cute. Like, the voice actors for the children did a fantastic job with them. They really did. I can't get over that it's fucking Jafar and Iago. Like, really? Like, it could only have been funnier if they actually got Gilbert Gottfried. Was he dead at this point? I think he might have been. R.I.P. to a legend. It could only have been funnier if it had been fucking Gilbert Gottfried. But his voice maybe wouldn't have suited that character.
Young Prince Stolas, you have to remember that it's unsuitable for a young Goetian.
That would have been something. Anyway, I think I'm just wobbling now. I think I'm just waffling. Good first episode of the second season. Not as dramatic as I thought it would be. Not blowing things up quite as, like, it's not altering the status quo. That's the thing about, like, typically when you think about, like, cliffhangers, is like season finales and season openers, is like they tend to be concerned with, like, oh, we're blowing up the status quo, everything's like, like we're really gonna go for it now as like a hook to bring the audience back. But that's a TV thing, right? Like, that's what you need to do on TV to get renewed for another fucking season, is you need to leave people with a thing of, like, oh my god, I need to know what happens next. If they cancel the show, I'm gonna burn the whole fucking TV station down. You need people to be that kind of invested. Helluva Boss kind of doesn't need that, right? Like, they have an invested audience. There's no barrier for, like, it doesn't have that same barrier of, like, you have to take up a time slot in a TV broadcast schedule. You're just a thing on YouTube, right? So I guess they don't have that same pressure to have these extreme cliffhangers that you have to then pull back the stat. Like, that's the other thing, is like TV dramas and stuff. They threaten to completely blow up the status quo at the end of the season, and then the first episode of the new season is like, oh, no, we are resolving all of that. Hey, the status quo is still there. Things aren't actually changed that much. Would you look at that? How did that happen? And Helluva Boss doesn't have the obligation to do that either. So I'm like, this is the thing I'm going to be curious about, like seeing the season develop and seeing like what the cliffhanger at the end of this season is going to be, like whether they're going to succumb to the temptation to threaten to blow up everything, right? Like to really explode the status quo, or whether they're going to, like, insofar as the status quo changes, if they're going to do it gradually over the course of the season, which is like the more healthy way to tell a story, I think. I'm curious about that because, like, and that's the thing, is like season 1, as you might expect, was very much the show figuring out what the fuck it was even gonna be, right? Like, because it started as, here's Brandon Rogers improvising a whole bunch of disconnected Family Guy skits together over the top of, like, a vague premise. Right? Like, that's where the show started. It was like, here's a bunch of dick jokes and, like suicide gags and children getting shot in the head with guns because that's funny. And then over the course of the first season, it becomes more and more like, yeah, gags, jokes, funny, ha ha ha. It's like, well, wait, hey, hang on. These characters are getting emotionally invested in each other. And hey, there's a romance going on between these two toxic characters who have emotional processing difficulties. And oh no, it's a soap opera now. Like, it sort of morphed into a soap opera, like, sort of smoothly over time as they began to realize that that's where the heart of the show actually lies. Now, having found that heart, right, like, it's, how well are they going to be able to hold on to it in season 2? How well are they going to be able to develop on it? Like, having spent the first season morphing into this spot, how well are they going to be able to actually take advantage of it? Because, like, it's one thing to find where the show's heart is and where the voice is. It's another thing to know what the fuck to do with it. Because the instinct of the soap opera is to always escalate the drama, right? Like, oh, my secret twin has awakened from his coma and he has amnesia, and my sister has become pregnant with his child due to sperm donation where they didn't check the thing. So now it's an incest baby who's also, like, both me and my brother's child. And how are we going to, like, soap operas have a tendency to just want to escalate the drama infinitely, forever, right? Like, always introduce a more absurd, dramatic situation, another long-lost brother, another, like, lover from the past who's coming back to, like, throw a wrench and home wreck into... And, like, so I wonder if Helluva Boss is going to be able to resist that impulse, like, that impulse to always introduce another complication, to always throw another wrench in the works, right? Or if it's going to be able to, like, take central thematic ideas about, like, who these characters are, what they've been through, and sort of go through the processing of that. Because that's the other thing, like, soap operas also, they have a status quo that they cannot violate, right? Like, soap operas are like, no, everything needs to return to the status quo where, like, these characters exist more or less in the same arrangement to one another, so we can keep bashing them together like play dolls, right? And inflicting trauma and misery on them. I wonder if Helluva Boss is going to take the opportunity to, like, that's the thing about, like, is it going to evolve the status quo, or is it going to sit in it? Right, we have found the status quo that we like. We have found the heart of the show. Let's just fucking wallow here for as long as humanly possible. Or are we gonna go, well, these relationships are gonna have to develop over time in order to feel real? I wonder, because, like, they don't have the same pressures that you do on TV, right? Like, they have the freedom to go for something more ambitious, which is also tinged with more risk. I wonder. I guess there's a way to find out what happens. There is a way to find out what actually happens, and it's called going to watch the next fucking episode. So maybe I should go do that. But it's 4:50 a.m. right now, so first I should probably have Chex watch lunch, and then maybe go to bed. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Bye.